Hello, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be showing you different exhibits at the Fort Worth Science and History Museum. And if you saw in my channel, you saw that I did a shorter version of this video. I just wanted to do a longer regular version just to talk more about each of the exhibits and my experience at the museum. The Fort Worth Science and History Museum is located, of course, in Fort Worth, Texas, and that's about 40 minutes west of Dallas, and it's downtown Fort Worth, so it's kind of on the outskirts of downtown Fort Worth. It's past the Fort Worth Zoo. And I've been there probably this last trip. It's probably my third or fourth time there. I went with for the first time, probably about a few years ago, when my older daughter was in first grade. And again, I went when my second daughter, this past time was also with her field trips. I got to volunteer to chaperone again, and that was always such a nice experience. And the only thing different that we didn't get to do this time that I got to do last few times that I've been there, was go inside the upstairs at the Omni Theater. I think you have to pay separate for that, separate ticket. But also they had a really neat space, planetarium type exhibit where you get to sit in a chair, kind of like a movie theater style chair, and it moved around along with the motion of the video that played, so that was really neat. So it was as if you were sitting in a spaceship going through space, and then she was kind of like the evolution of kind of how the planet's Earth, and just kind of how the evolution of it, and then we got to and then it went through underwater to kind of show the beginnings of ocean life and sea creatures. And there are about 3 floors, I believe 2 or 3 floors in this museum, and there's an exhibit that was being built last year, and it was basically just a science museum or science exhibit with different science experiments and just different things relating to experiments. And there was a really neat recycling exhibit where you saw in the picture this body giant body created out of plastic water bottles, and I thought that was very interesting. And they had this part of the exhibit that showed different shoes and purses and stuff that were made out of recycled plastic items, and so that just really, I think, goes to show just how, it can be used over and over again, and how long it actually lasts when we throw those things away. Some of the exhibits and things that they had in there is very similar to kind of the nature things that they have at the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. They just have different nature, science, technology, animals, wildlife, different things like that, different exhibits, and just different things to learn from. So this museum had a lot of that to offer. And of course, with it being Texas, there was a big thing about the farming, agriculture, cows, horses, showed different styles of horse saddles and such. It's a really interesting exhibit about farming and just basically how agriculture in the western frontier and all those kind of things came about, and just a lot of information about the Fort Worth Stockyards, which is not far from the museum, of course. That is a section of town where they have cattle drives, where they probably about twice a day, they'll have morning and afternoon, they'll have big gathering of wool, I think it's like cows, and they'll have them walk through the streets of that main street, and you can stand on the sidewalk and watch them go, and it's really interesting. As you're looking at this dinosaur picture, it's basically just showing you the measurements of how tall the dinosaur is compared to a giraffe, person, and a dog. And actually, there's in southern, it's actually an hour south of Fort Worth. There is a national kind of park where they have preserved dinosaur footprints, and that is one place I would really like to go, but there's really no shade. It's just open land, water, a water source, and just these dinosaur footprints, which is really interesting. But I think I'll try and go maybe in the fall so it's not so hot. And this is just showing the history of transportation, starting with the train, the early cars in the area, showing you how they moved different things within the farming, and the people that came here stopped here on their way to California, or just stopped here in general during the 1800s. So this is about the stolen cattle and the wanted poster for whomever stole the cattle, and it's just some information about that. And in the shorts video that you saw, if you saw my shorts video where they had paintings of different cows, but they moved and they spoke, which is really interesting. So as you walked by each painting, you would hear them talking, speaking in different messages, different things that they would say. And so you can kind of see the pictures behind the saddles there, actually. So also the museum has different, it's like a small food court, cafeteria type of thing, where they have a couple of different food choices, but with it being the field trip, we brought our own lunch. But I remember being there once and they had Chick-fil-A, I think. But anyway, it's cafeteria style type eating area, and then they also have a small outdoor playground kind of in their courtyard area. So we stopped there as well and stopped to eat our lunch there. So it's just all different things going on. It's really interesting. And another really neat museum, it's an outdoor museum that is across the street. It's exactly directly across the street from the Fort Worth Zoo. It's an outdoor museum featuring the ways of life during the mid to late 1800s in Texas. And basically it's the time period of the Little House on the Prairie type. And so it's an outdoor museum, and I was there for the first time a few years ago, and they have different exhibits of how they would do, so basically they would do farming, iron, and they had a small little cabin to show the different parts of the cabin and just everything that's in there, and the clothing and the toys that they had back then, and just different things like that. So as I was mentioning before, this is just information about the Fort Worth Stockyard Show, where they have just different rodeos and shows. That's actually also, they have that at the Texas State Fair. They have a lot of exhibits and activities like rodeo and stuff. It's actually really interesting. We went to one during the fair, and of course they have a lot of stuff like that at the fair, showing you the animals and the farming and agriculture, and it's just interesting to see how things were done and just how much has changed since the beginning of that time. The big thing here is their horses. Just even the neighborhoods, people have their little stables and their horses. It's really interesting to ride through the neighborhoods and see the different horses that are in the neighborhood. It's definitely different. It's very cute. So this is just talking about the history of the different horses and just how they have things and how much they have helped to help the farming and everything. And it's just really interesting to hear about all that and learn about how things were and how much they've progressed throughout time as well. This museum has several different exhibits. Like I said, it took us about, I would say, 2 to 3 hours just to actually do everything. I didn't show any pictures from this, but there is the first item, the first rooms that we saw actually coming in is big science technology type exhibits where they have robots and different things. They show like machines and magnetic type of things, and there's a room where they have glow-in-the-dark light, neon lighting, black lighting, and they have Legos, a Lego set that's a black, like glow-in-the-dark set, which is really interesting, and just a lot of things like that, just really science stuff. It's just really interesting. So it's all different things, from science, agriculture, nature, animals. They have a little fish tank, and that was actually where I showed you guys the the different animals. That was actually in that section as well. So another museum that I actually really want to visit, it's called the Pro Museum. It's in Dallas, downtown Dallas. It's also much like a nature history type museum as well. They have dinosaur bones and a whole exhibit like that, and agriculture and science and animals and basically a lot of the stuff like this, but I think it's more so like a Smithsonian type of museum, like in DC. So I really want to see that one as well. So I hope you enjoyed listening. I didn't realize that I made the first video so short, but I thought that's okay because I know there are other relaxing videos out there that are short, on the shorter side, so I figured that's okay. But I did want to redo this video just to kind of talk more about the different exhibits and the different features that the museum has to offer, and so I could just give a little more detailed accounts of each of the rooms and themes going on within the museum. So I hope that's something that you enjoyed listening to and watching here. So as you can see, there's all different exhibits and things to learn in this museum, so it's really interesting. And I hope one day you get to enjoy and go to the museum and see what they have to offer. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.